Hello, and welcome to this professional development module in the area of management and control, focusing on preparing for a substitute teacher. We're going to talk today about what to provide for a substitute teacher if you must be absent from school. There are three main topics in this module. The first is assuring that you're prepared for an absence and leaving all the things that you need to leave for a substitute on a day where you know you're going to be out the next day. Maybe it's due to illness, maybe it's due to bereavement, personal day, what have you, but you're aware that you're not going to be in the classroom for that next day. That's the most common type. The next topic is making sure that you have a emergency folder in your desk at a location that is known to building secretaries or administration. And this is really in case you cannot get into school and provide in-depth plans for pacing according to the regular curriculum plan. While all of our instruction, including instruction by substitutes, should be succinct and locked in with the curriculum, if you cannot make it in that day, it's best to have something that a substitute can run or another teacher can run no matter what. And this could be a standalone activity that reinforces other topics, what have you. But really that second topic is making sure you have an emergency folder in place in case you can't make it in for whatever unforeseen reason, and keeping that up to date and making sure that it's ready to go. And the third and final topic will be setting up a day off. There's really a couple subtopics here. These could be due to illness, personal day, or professional development. And there's a little bit of difference in how each of those is set up. And that could change over time. So you'll want to pay special attention to that final 5 minutes or so of this module. First, just a couple of general notes about what should be in place for a substitute no matter what. First of all, please make sure that your classroom keys are left in your mailbox at the end of each school day in case a substitute needs to get them in the morning. This saves them agitation. It saves school secretaries and administration and custodial staff time and effort in that chaotic time in the morning. So really, to ensure smooth flow of everyone getting to where they need to be, please make sure that your classroom keys are placed at the end of the day in your school mailbox so that they can be retrieved if necessary. If you're going to be in the building late, go down at the end of the day and place them there and then stay as long as you're going to stay. Also, make sure that you have followed proper procedure for being off, whether you call off due to illness, file your information for a personal day, etc. These next two slides detail some of the things that we need to leave behind for a substitute, regardless of what type of absence we're having, be it illness, professional development, etc. First, and most important, we need to make sure that lesson plans maintaining continuity with the school district curriculum plan are in place and left for the substitute. I would really advocate for planning out every single minute of a period or a day. That way, very little is left up to possibility for error. Make sure all necessary materials and copies are ready for the substitute if at all possible. Substitutes often do not have the time to be making copies of your materials in the morning, and excellent planning really dictates that that be done ahead of time, hopefully a week ahead of time. And you want to make sure that you have current seating charts for all of your classes available to whatever substitute is there. On this seating chart, you may wish to list responsible students who could help fill the substitute in on classroom procedures. You may wish to list students that are going to need special accommodations, be it instructionally or behaviorally, and where they're going to be able to get those supports or accommodations if you are not in the room, be it from a school counselor, if it's an emotional issue, if it's a learning support issue, who on the learning support staff you could talk to provide information to the substitute in order to make sure that those students really get the instruction that they deserve during that day that you're out. On the previous slide, we saw some pictures. There was a bell schedule, there was a seating chart, and a picture of my actual emergency folder from last school year. Other things in the realm of must-haves for substitutes are both listed and pictured here. We should also provide our substitutes with an effective means of taking attendance. And on the left here in the top, we see the district attendance form. This can be used by a substitute during the day, and you can enter it into PowerSchool the following day when you come back. You also want to leave a valid restroom pass, and that's going to vary depending on building. What we see in pink here is the middle school restroom pass. You also will leave logs or point sheets depending on the procedures in your building. And here we see on the bottom left a student behavioral point sheet as described in the Code of Conduct, and the bottom right, the district behavior log. Other things that we should have in place for substitutes when we are out include a copy of the evacuation or fire drill procedures. That way there's no guessing, even if it is a drill or if it's an emergency, as to what should happen. We should also leave a detailed description of our daily schedule, including reinforcing that the teacher should be in the hallway at the transition of classes in the case of middle school and high school, as well as any lunch duty or other duties that we have to attend to beyond the day. Basically, what we want to do is take any guessing out of the substitute's day and really provide them the supports that they need to maintain continuity in instruction and atmosphere. Next up, let's talk about our emergency absence folder. This is a separate entity from any of your other substitute lesson plans, and this should really live in its own place and have its own materials. This folder wants to be a self-contained 1, maybe 2 days of activities and have everything there that was listed in the previous couple of slides. It should also have everything necessary to run the activities that you outline in the folder. A couple of tips about this. Really go into detail with these plans just like you would plans for any other substitute, and don't leave any minutes unplanned. Leave more work than necessary if some of the things go faster, or if you have to be out for a longer period than a day. That substitute would greatly benefit from you over planning in this instance rather than leaving them up to improvise. And try to leave something fun or engaging that the students are really going to sign on and have a good time interacting with the substitute and digging into some new material, maybe in a way that you wouldn't have taken time in your regularly scheduled lessons. And if you're leaving an assignment, it really goes a long way for your credibility and the credibility of the substitute for you to hold the students accountable for the work that was done with the substitute. If the students know that work done with the substitute will not be graded, chances are they will not do it and behavior problems will ensue. So do communicate this early and often to your students. And remember, if you were a substitute, you'd want to have a teacher that invested some time in planning and preparation in this instance. Next, let's take a look at scheduled days off from the Greater Johnstown School District for teachers. Two of the ways that you would know in advance that you had a day out of the classroom would be if you scheduled a personal day, of which you are granted 3 per year, And an example of that form is seen on the left. It's very simple. Put your name, the day or days that you request off for a personal day, get it to your building administrator. They'll sign off on it. Superintendent or their designee will sign off on it, and then you're out that day. And that's exactly how personal day forms are processed. Those are not done online yet. If they are moved to online registration, we'll amend this module and put that in there. The other way that you could know ahead of time that you are going to be out for a day is if you had scheduled for a professional absence. Let's say you have a conference or a workshop. An example of that form is seen on the right. It would really be best to fill this out to the best of your ability and then show it to a neighbor or experienced teacher and have them go over it with you, possibly your building administrator as well. You'll notice that some portions are to be filled out prior to your professional development experience, and some portions are to be filled out after your professional development experience. And there are also portions for administrative use only. Please do not write in those. Take some time and familiarize yourself with both of these forms. Ultimately, they're rather simple. This final slide will set up a screenshot video which introduces you how to use the ESOP system. All Greater Johnstown School District employees are to use the ESOP website to schedule off for the following types of absences. And this is everyone: teachers, administrators, support staff, you name it. If you're going to be out due to illness, bereavement, jury duty, or military activation, please access the ESOP website at www.frontlinek12.com/ESOP. And it's really pretty self-explanatory. The final 5 minutes of this module, we're going to walk through some of the basic functions of ESOP. You may wish to pause and rewind just to familiarize yourself with it, but do explore this prior to trying to schedule a day off. Welcome to the www.frontlinek12.com website. Frontline Technologies is the provider of the ESOP system, and that's the system the district uses to schedule substitutes as well as time off due to illness or bereavement. So let's take a look at how we log into that and run through the procedure. We're going to scroll down on the main page to ESOP. That's the product we want to use, and you can select it by clicking right in this red area here that says Substitute Placement and Absence Management. You'll notice you go to the next page where there are spots for your ID and PIN as provided by the school district. Do not use mine, use your own. I do not know what yours are, but that's mine. Again, do not use it. You will not see my PIN as it will be de-identified. And then hit login. And what you're brought up with is obviously a calendar. It shows you 3 months at a time, and you're able to select the days that you wish to call out sick. And when those are in the system, you will see that it'll show up blue as an absence, pink as a closed day where the school is not in session, or yellow as an in-service day. And down here under Create Absence, you can select the days that you would want to be or need to be absent. And then you can deselect them just by clicking on them. You can select whether or not a substitute is required. That would depend on your particular situation. You can leave your reason for absence, As you can see, bereavement, illness, jury duty, military leave are the options in here. Personal days and professional development days at a conference will still be handled by the forms mentioned earlier until further notice. And you can list whether or not it is a full day, half day for the morning, half day for the afternoon. You can type into here notes for your administrator, such as the folder is on my desk, notes to the substitute, whatever it may be that you need to communicate to those individuals. You can also drag and drop files right to here. This could be your lesson plans, it could be materials that you need for class. I would recommend, though, that you have those things in place at your desk if at all possible. If you're not comfortable with the drag and drop feature, you can of course hit choose file, and that'll let you browse through, and it'll essentially act like an attachment in your email. When you're all set to schedule your absence, you hit create absence. You can also look at this and see where your scheduled absences exist on the calendar. You can look at past absences within that past 30 days, and you can see denied absences should you have one denied. But those are the main functions of ESOP. And again, this is the official means for scheduling time out due to illness, bereavement, jury duty, or military leave for the district. Please do not call the Human Services office to schedule yourself out unless there is a problem with this website. I hope that helps. If you have a problem, I would ask an experienced teacher in your building or possibly a building administrator. Thank you.